Good morning, my name is Shah Patidar. In this video, we will include K-mean clustering algorithm. Our question is, explain the K-mean clustering algorithm with steps, discuss how initial centroid influence the result. K-mean is an unsupervised learning algorithm which is used to group the data into K clusters based on the similarity. It tries to minimize the within cluster distance points inside the cluster should be close together. Each cluster is represented by its centroid mean of all points in that cluster. Now, steps to perform the k-mean clustering are in step 1 we will decide how many clusters we want to form. For example, generally we take k is equals to 3. Now in step 2 we will initialize the centroid. Randomly we will select a initial point as a centroid and this centroid will be updated during the algorithm. In step number 3 we will assign points to the nearest centroid. For each data point we will compute the distance. Generally we calculate the distance with the help of the Euclid division distance formula. In the next we will assign the point to the closest centroid and this form the K cluster. In step number 4, we will update our centroids. To compute the new centroid, we will take the mean of all the points assigned to that cluster. In step number 5, we will perform these steps again and again until the centroid becomes the stable into the step number 6. Now, as here you can see example which consists of several points. Now, here we had considered our initial centroid C1 and C2 as 1, 1 and 5, 4. With the help of this centroid and the distance formula, we will calculate our distance for all the points. As you can see, our coordinate is 1, 1. When we substitute when we calculate the distance from the centroid 1, so our distance is 0. We will substitute the values into this formula. Here x1 will be 1 minus 1 whole square plus y1 is our 1 and the y2 is our also 1. 1 minus 1 whole square. 1, this is 0 plus 0, under root 0 means 0. So distance to the cluster 1 is 0. Similarly, we will calculate the distance to the cluster 2 and we will check which one of them is the nearest. So here 0 is the nearest, so we will place it into the cluster 1. Similarly, we will calculate the distance for the other remaining points and place them into the cluster according to their distance. Here, as you can see, in case number E, we have equal distance for both of them. So we can choose any one. So we had chosen the E1, 2.24 into the cluster 1. Place the E into cluster 1. So here cluster 1 consists of our points A, B, E and the cluster 2 consists of our points C, D, F. Now we will take the mean of the the points which lies inside the center inside the cluster 1 and the cluster 2. Here we are taking the mean of the points A, B and E. So our new centroid coordinates are 2, 1.3 for centroid 1 and for second centroid our new points are 5, 4. Now with the help of these new centroids we will calculate our distance. Again we had calculated the distance with the help of our new centroid that are 2, 1.33 and 5, 4. Now here again we will check the closer one. So here 1.2 is the nearest, so we will place point A into the cluster 1. Similarly point B, C, D, F we will place into their desired cluster. Now here as you can see our cluster in the second iteration and in first iteration both the clusters are same. Here point A, point B and point E are inside the cluster 1. Here also point A, here also point A, here also point A is inside the cluster 1, point B in the cluster 2, which in cluster 1 and similarly point E is also inside the cluster 1. So here we will stop because our clusters before and after are same. So cluster did not change, so the algorithm will be stopped, and the cluster 1 include finally A, B, E, and the cluster 2 include C, D, F. Thank you.